Hello. We are now moving on to Module 3 in this programming class, and I'm going to review this module a little bit, and it's all getting into working with and learning about the if-then-else structure. We're at a point right now that we're going to be writing code, and it's going to get to a point where you have an input that needs to make a decision, and it'll have two paths. All right, you can actually have more than two paths, but we're starting just with a true and a false path, or maybe something that says a yes or no path. Yes and true and yes indicates the true path, and no and false, two different words, indicates the false path. Okay, so just bear with me a little bit as I review. In the overview model, we have some of the bullet points here that we will be getting into, and the key one here is the structure if then else. Okay, you see that we will have approximately 2 example problems. Right now they're called example problem 6 and 7, as noted what you see here, and then there will be some minor assignments, and we will be going back to the ebook. I believe it's chapter number 4 that we will then be using the ebook as a resource to build an application, but we'll have a small if then else 1 and 2 that I'm recording here after we get through the example problems. Okay, and you can see there is a quiz noted here. So first thing I want to do is go to your file folders, and we've done this before, and I want to create a Module 3 folder. Okay, we've created them, as you can see here, we have created a Module 1 and a Module 2. So if I go to Documents, I go in the program, you can see Module 1 and 2. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go New, I'm going to come up and select Folder, and I'm actually going to type in Module 3. So when we get into a point where we're starting example problem 6, you're going to have to redirect in the browse button in these when you save a new project, and you have to redirect and try to get into Module 3. And I'll touch base when we get to writing our first application. So if I go back to ladies and gentlemen, and I give you a minor overview of what a flowchart looks like in a code. Bear with me. This is just an overview of the if then else structure. Okay, so I'm using the program word as my template here. Okay, so what we have here on the left hand side is a flowchart, and the right side is basically the code structure, okay, of an if then else. And I have just basically one input. I'm starting with one input where it is trying to read a person's age. Okay, by all means, I'm dealing with the age level in here. Some people may be 14, some people may be 15, some people may be 16, some people may be 17. Okay, so it's kind of real here, because you guys are at the age where you're learning to drive and will be driving. Okay, just low grade, just trying to look at one input as age. Okay, so if I start at the flowchart here, and you can see the input, it says age. Okay, and I flop over to the code, and you can see where it's reading the age. Okay, as we go down, we then see something that is referred to as a decision symbol. Decision symbol. Okay, where the program is going to be making a test on the age. Okay, so you can see I have inside here if I'm just saying age is greater or equal to 16. Okay, and so I very well could have used A as the acronym for age, but I think 3 letters can easily define this in this symbol. So age is greater than equal to 16. If I go over to the code, then here's the proper code of this. And now I'm highlighting some of the code in blue because these are the key words that would be used in the Visual Basic program to write an effective program. So we have the word if, okay, followed by the variable age is greater or equal to 16. Okay, so that's the same thing it's read in this symbol here, followed by the keyword then. Okay, so the word if and then are key components here and are keywords and are needed at the front and back of this first line of this code. Okay, so if I go back to the flowchart, you can see a yes and a no. I could have very well written, and I'm telling you, the language could have been written true or false. I will accept when writing flowchart yes or no, or true or false. Sometimes I have people just do a Y and an N and as abbreviation. Okay, that's telling me and yourself where's the true path and where's the false path. Because when the program reads this, if you enter in, for example, let's just go through the test. If you enter in a number like 15 during runtime and it reads, this age is less than or equal to, his age is greater than or equal to 16, it's going to say no, because 15 is actually less. If I typed in the number 16 or 17 as input, and I come down here, is age, greater than or equal to 16, or it's going to go yes, because the input meets that expression. The expression is saying, okay, yeah, that's a true statement. Okay, so really any number above 16, it's going to follow. If I type in 1,000, it's going to follow the true path. Any number that is 15 or below that you type in is going to follow the no path. Okay, so the key components that the program tends to do, it tends to follow the true path first and does the code on the true path first, or the yes path, based on whatever the expression is. So in this case, if we did type a positive number, 16 or higher, and you follow, it's going to output, okay, something that says you can drive, okay, you're putting quotes, drive. Okay, if I simply go over to the right hand side of the code, there's rules, and the rules here tell you that after the then path, you're always going to have the true path or the yes path, the true path. Okay, the true path. And so it's actually outing, if this was true, it's actually going to output you can drive. So the program will spit out that you can drive. You type in 16 and it'll say you can drive. Okay, so that is the true path. And then it comes down to this connector. This circle right here is basically the connector. Okay, that's the terminology. We have a decision symbol and we have connector. And usually when you write these, the connector should hover somewhat similar right above decision. Okay, now the end if, is actually acting like the connector. The end if is kind of the same thing as the connector. So I now want to discuss what happens with the false path. If we type a number, like I said, 15 during runtime, and obviously 15 age is a false, it's not equal or greater than 16, it'll go to the false path, and you can see no, and it follows the arrow down. It does nothing. There's nothing it's going to do. So if your number is 15 or less in this scenario, it spits out nothing, it does nothing, and the program just stops. So let's go over here and look at the code. During runtime, if we typed in number like 15, once it got to the end, it's going to skip. This is where program becomes evident, where we're taking the ball up. It's going to skip to the end if. It's not going to output this. So the test is being done here. It's either going to go the true path and output this, or if it's a false statement here, it's going to jump this code and go right to the end if, and you will see the end. Okay, now that's, basically what we have here is a null. There is no false path whatsoever because nothing's happening in. I'm going now to scroll down. I'm taking the same code and now I'm going to add something into the false path. Okay, everything's the same here, but I'm now adding the word else, and I'm now adding a false path. And even in with the flowchart, okay, you can see the flowchart on the no path or the false path. You can see that there's another output. Okay, so let me start with the flow chart first. Same flow chart, just adding something into the the false path. So again, let's say if I typed in a number that's 15, okay, and this becomes a false statement or the no path, you could see if I follow this down, it will actually physically do the word non-driver. Okay, because you're not able to drive, so you're non-driving. It goes to the connector. So if I come back up here to the code aspect, and here's the line of code that's making the test on age. If age is less than 15, again, it's going to jump code and go down to the else. So it's going from then to else, and then it's going to output non-driver. Okay, so if this was true, going back to what I started with, if we did type a number that was 16, 17, 18, and it would output you can drive, once it got down to outputting you can drive, the code again skips over the else and goes to the end if. So what we have here is two different paths. All right, the blue text, and this is why we call this if then else. The blue text is highlighting the key component, the key words in writing code that syncs up with the flowchart to the left-hand side. So this is just an overview where we're going. This is a very low grade of making one test. It's either going to write out you can drive based on your input of a number that's 16 or higher, or it's going to output non-driver if you enter a number that's 15 or below. And you can see the same type of the drive is over here on the true path. You can see how I said true, and yes, both those are common. You get in different textbooks, and that some may say the yes path, some may say the true path, or the false path and the no path. Okay, so I'm presenting to you both, which indicates that yes, that is a true statement, this is a true statement, or this is not a true statement. So this is just what we're getting into programming. We're going to be going back to where I am going to be asking you to write the flowcharts again. This is part of understanding, looking at a flowchart, and you can write a program. So to summarize, if I jump back to Canvas on this, and I let you know, one of the last thing I want you to do is take a pretest in unit number module 3. So if I'm in module 3 right now, okay, of the web resource, we're having to go into the second 9 weeks, okay, because that's where now module 3 is housed, and go into module 3, scroll down. If you can then just to end this overview of this unit, if you can process the pretest, 15 or so questions, that'll set you guys to this, up the stage, moving into the example problems.